How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great today. Today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts of the new T-Mobile Revvl 5G. Really nice phone. $400, you can't go wrong. You'll probably get it for some good deals, especially if you add a line or something for T-Mobile or things like that. But for $400, it's still a great deal for this phone. It offers a lot of bang for your buck. So I'm going to be going over some little specs and some things that I like and some things that I don't like about the T-Mobile Revvl. So let's go ahead and jump down into it, shall we? So going on over into my list, performance on here has been excellent. You got the Snapdragon 765G with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of expandable storage. You get a micro SD card expansion slot right over here on the side. So really nice. No stutters, no hiccups. Haven't had any issues on this phone. It runs really nice and smooth. For $400, you really can't beat that. It is running Android 10 out of the box, so that's another plus. So really nice on the performance side. You will not have any issues. The Snapdragon 765 is a really nice chipset, popular chipset, and I can understand why they're using that on a lot of, I guess, mid-tier phones. It's a great Snapdragon chipset that is on here. Really nice, fast, and powerful enough to do everything that you need to do. Games, I don't really play games, but I'm sure it can handle them just fine. But for everyday use, that is just really nice on this phone. Fast, snappy, and just excellent. Going on over to the display, it's a nice display. It is LCD, 6.5 inches. It does get bright enough, especially outdoors. You do have an extra option to turn on sunlight display to where it'll increase the brightness under sunlight. Really nice options on the display side. And for an LCD, it's not that bad. I prefer AMOLED or OLED displays just because, especially if you have an always on display, it's just a lot better to have that. Like right here, you can barely see the always on display, probably because it's bright in here. But when that comes on, the whole display pretty much stays on all night. So keep that in mind. But as far as colors go, it's a very nice, colorful display. Colors are pretty natural. They're not too saturated, but they look really good on here. So really nice. You do get some bezels along the top and a nice sizable chin at the bottom. But what do you expect for $400? And you also get the hole punch cutout for your camera, which is pretty recent and, you know, nice design. A lot of phones are doing that right now, so that sort of gives it that little modern look to it. Excellent build on here. You do get a metal frame. You do back, excuse me guys. Really nice. As far as the front, I don't know if it's Gorilla Glass or not. Some sort of non-scratch glass, but really nice build quality on here. It's nice, it's solid, it's heavy. It feels really nice. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break in your hand. Not too much of a rattle either. So really nice build quality. The back is really nice. The color, I really like this magenta color on here. Really beautiful looking phone, and it feels great in the hand. As far as another thing, it does have a cool notification light in the power button. I don't know if I could show you guys that by plugging in a charger really quick, but that's really cool how they implemented that little notification light on the power button. When you charge it, it'll light up. Whenever a notification comes in, it'll light up, and when your phone, you know, a phone call or anything, this will light up. And that's really cool, since a lot of phones aren't including notification lights on the front. I think it's nice that TCL or T-Mobile included that notification light in the power button. So that's a really nice option. That really surprised me, and I was like, oh nice, that is a nice touch to include that on this phone. Photos on here are pretty good in daylight. They do suffer a little bit at night, but I'll post a link in the description for some camera testing on this phone. Like I said, during the daylight, these photos come out pretty good. No complaints whatsoever on here. It's in the daylight, in the nighttime is when they start to suffer a little bit. But as far as that goes, during the day, these photos are going to be really nice and just perfect enough for social media and stuff like that. Of course, they are not flagship quality photos or anything, but they are still really nice, decent photos on here, so no issues there. With the photo quality on here, you will not be disappointed. For $400, they are actually pretty good. As far as cameras go, you do get 3 cameras on the back. You get a 48 megapixel main sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel macro lens. On the front, you get a 16 megapixel camera, and with that hole punch cutout. So really excellent cameras on here. They will definitely do the job and get you nice pictures for social media. But like I said, they are not flagship quality photos. They're not going to be as good as the new Note 20 or something like that, but they are still really solid cameras. Going on over to the OS, you do get a stock Android OS on here. So it does look a lot like a Pixel phone with the stock software, the quick tile bars up here. You do get Google Dialer, so that's really cool on there. The messaging is not Google, it's I think it's TCL messaging on here. And of course you do get Chrome, a lot of your Google photos on here. So really nice light software on here. I haven't had any issues. There really isn't any bloatware on the T-Mobile version other than the Wi-Fi calling or the T-Mobile app and the hotspot stuff, but that's pretty much it. Really nice stock Android feel with this phone. I'm running launcher, but the stock launcher does give you that Google feed onto the side, and it is TCL stuff, but it is still a nice light launcher on here. But like I said, I installed launcher on here. Call quality on here has been pretty good. No issues whatsoever. A little bit of static sometimes, but really nothing to cry home about. Bluetooth quality on here is still excellent. People can hear me just fine. So call quality on here is pretty good. Reliable fingerprint sensor is another plus. This thing is really fast, and definitely a lot faster than your in-display fingerprint sensors. And it is a lot more in a reachable spot, and this is sort of just throws me back to old school phones that had the fingerprint sensor in the rear. It's just really nice, and it does double as a notification shade drop down as well when you swipe down on it, so that's really cool. This phone is future proof. It does have 5G on here. Now for me, 5G at home isn't really that great, and at work it's not that great for me, so I just go ahead and turn it off. But you do have the option for 5G on here. Of course I can't do it because I'm on Wi-Fi and I don't have a SIM card in here, but you do have the option for 5G, and it is future proof. So once 5G does come out and it is a little bit more stable, you already got the phone for it, so that's really nice. 4500 milliamp hour battery on here. It's a nice sizable battery. Battery life is a bit questionable, but it is not that bad. It's pretty good. If you turn off the always on display, you're going to get more battery life obviously, but it's still a really nice size battery, and battery life is not disappointing. So either way, you'll be very pleased with the battery life. 4500 milliamp hour battery. I was expecting a little bit more, but it's really not that bad. I've had pretty good battery life on here. Another good thing, $400, like I said. You could probably get this for some good deals on T-Mobile. You add a line or something like that, or Metro PCS. Really nice phone for $400. You cannot beat that. Excellent build quality, nice features, very stock Android 10 looking. It's a really great phone. Decent cameras, stereo speakers. You do get everything on this phone for $400, $399, so that's really great. Going on over to the bad stuff, the display, I've noticed sometimes that it does get a little bit faded sometimes when I'm using it. Sometimes I don't know if it's a glitch or something, but if I'm scrolling through some stuff and if I go like into my settings, instead of it having this dark grayish look, it'll be more of a white grayish, very washed out gray faded look. A really washed out gray faded look, but a simple reboot will fix that. I don't know if it's a display issue or not. I think I did have a update on here. Well, I haven't had an update yet, but hopefully they fix that in the next one. Sometimes notice that when you're scrolling in through YouTube, when you're scrolling a little bit, everything will sort of flicker a little bit, if that makes any sense, and just turn really washed out. But a simple reboot would take care of that. I don't know if it's just my model or if you guys have that same issue. Comment down below. Going back to the battery, yes, it is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, but battery life it's okay. It's not that great, but it's not that bad. Always on display definitely drains the battery overnight, considering that it's an LCD display. So everything stays on the front when you're charging it or when it's just sitting there. That is why I don't like LCD displays. I like POLED or AMOLED displays just because they're more battery friendly. And if you download like a dark theme or something for this, or go completely dark, it doesn't really do anything. It defies the whole purpose of trying to save battery, just because the screen is always on anyways. So battery life, 5G drain, I definitely turn that off, just because 5G definitely does drain a little bit more. And like I said, it's not really that powerful in my home or my work, so I just turn 5G off and you get better battery life anyways. The bezels on here, they're not too bad, but it's definitely not a bezel-less phone. You do get some bezels along the top and along the sides, probably Pixel 4a quality bezels on here, but you do get a nice sizable chin at the bottom, so that may make it look a little bit more on the cheap side, but it's really not that bad. But keep that in mind, you do get sizable bezels and a sizable chin at the bottom. Going on over to the photos, nighttime photos are questionable. They're not that great. You could definitely get better, but like I said, for $400, I wasn't expecting anything to blow my mind or pixel quality photos on here. But at nighttime, photos do tend to fall apart, and video does tend to fall apart a little bit as well. Like I said, I'll post some links to a couple of my other videos that I did, some photo and video samples of the T-Mobile Revvl. This phone does have stereo speakers. They are pretty cool, and it is pretty cool that they included stereo speakers on here, but they do not get that loud, and when they do get loud, they sort of distort just a little bit. It's really not that serious. They still sound really good, but keep that in mind. When it does get a little loud, there is a bit of distortion on there, so keep that in mind. The stereo speakers are good, but they're not, mind-blowing or anything. No customization features on here. Usually the Google Pixels and other phones, you could customize like your theme or something. On here, the only thing you could do is a dark theme on here, but you can't really change the accent colors or anything. And I definitely like having that option to change colors or have the option to change the theme or something. And this phone does not have that, so that is a bummer. Really not a huge bummer, but for me, that's a bummer. I'd like to change these colors. They stay the same. You can't really do anything about that, so keep that in mind. As far as other stuff, headphone jack. It does have a headphone jack, and that is really good. But don't include a headphone jack if it feels like it's gonna fall out. So when you plug this in, it's very questionable as far as if it's plugged in or not. And this thing also moves around quite a bit in there. You could definitely feel it going from top to bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it definitely does not feel like it's in there, on there, and it does pop out pretty easily. It does not feel like it's gonna snap in there. I know with the LG Velvet, it feels like it's in there and it's not going anywhere. This one feels a little bit loose and a little bit questionable. Audio still does come out of it. Do not have any issues with disconnection or anything like that. Audio out of the headphone jack is okay. It's about average to below average. It's not very loud, but what do you expect? The audio is definitely better on the A71 and on the LG Velvet. But yeah, loose audio jack, keep that in mind. I don't know if it's just my model, but if any of you guys have the same issue, comment down below. I'd like to hear. No double tap to wake or to sleep on this. So if you're locked and you try to double tap, there is no double tap to wake on here. The only reason I included double tap to sleep it's because I downloaded the launcher, and that gives me the option. But with the default launcher, there is no double tap to sleep on there, which is, I really like that double tap feature to wake and to sleep. It's just very convenient rather than having to push the power button or anything like that. But very small, very minute, just keep that in mind. Like I said, while the back is glass, it does seem to be kind of thin. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when I first got this phone, I literally thought it was plastic. But it is a glass back, but it does seem like a very thin glass. So I'm afraid that if you drop this is gonna break pretty easily. So put a case on it. Not very serious, but put a case on it. It still looks great, still feels great, but it does feel sort of thin on here. Like I said, when I first got this, I thought it was plastic, but it is glass. It does have that matte finish to it, so that's really, really nice and pretty, and the color is very pretty too. But slap a case on it just in case you end up dropping this and you don't want to break it. But really, really nice. It is glass, so keep that in mind. But on the overview, this phone is very, very capable. Awesome processor, enough storage, enough RAM. Cameras are pretty good for social media. Nice build quality, large battery, 5G capable. It's really nice display. Even though it's LCD, it's still a pretty nice panel, and the colors are really nice on here. Power button is a notification light. Decent stereo speakers. You do get a headphone jack, even though it is loose, all for $400. So with that being said, guys, the T-Mobile Revvl 5G is an excellent buy for $400. If you can get this phone even cheaper, then that's even a better buy right there. But for $400 as is right now, this phone is pretty good. I definitely recommend it. There are a little bit of flaws on there. It's not the greatest cameras in the world. The display isn't the best display out there, but this is a nice phone, and this definitely does get the job. If you're looking for a cheap, reliable phone, the T-Mobile Revvl 5G is the way to go. So with that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, comment down below. And stay safe out there. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell for future notifications on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.